Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, thanks everyone for watching that core values video, and also participating in the thread afterward. It's quite a lot of people talking. It's really cool because yeah, our NOVAEO community core values. It's important to have and be aware of exactly what your values are, and it can be different from person to person. But ultimately, as a group, we need to agree to what our values are and then ground into them. Because when you know your values, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's your personality is a 10 out of 10 on every single value that you value all the time. No, it means what is important to you. What do you feel guilty about when you break it? What do what the values that are reflected inside of you are also the values that you want to see coming from other people. And so it helps you build relationships and find the right people that are meant to be in your life as well. And so honestly, it's kind of nuts that it took so long to present our core values and ask for your feedback on it, because I would say one of the problems that NOVAEO has had is kind of like a lack of ground for a while. We have so many ideas. We're also at a whim to Amazon's craziness, since that's our primary income stream. And you can really ground into your values. So the 8 community core values are definitely going to be evolving over time. It's something we could consider this a rough draft, and that's why I felt confident in just being able to come up with them ultimately myself. I mean, I was talking to people, but ultimately myself. But as a community, we need to agree to them, which means this is just a rough draft. As time goes on and we start thinking about our values, starting with these 8, we will have open forum to change our values over time, or to maybe talk about some over others, depending on what's going on and how we're acting as individuals and as a community. So one of the questions that Tiffany asked in the thread was for Derek and I to share our top core value, and it changes constantly. I mean, all 8 of those are very important. Actually, when I came up with those, what I did was I wrote about 80 words. I think it was like 78 words that were all ultimately values that I believe NOVAEO ought to ground into. And then I grouped those based on kind of having similar meaning. Some values fit inside others. And then so these 8 core values that we have are ultimately representative of about 78 different values. And I believe that's shared in the graphic that Tiffany created as well, or at least most of them. But so anyway, with my top, it depends. Autonomy is what's going through my head when I am working. And when I say working, I don't mean just like NOVAEO work. It could be fitness. It could be, whatever. When I am using discipline to grow myself or create, autonomy is what's on my mind. Again, actually, because that word discipline is really what's just bouncing around in my head. Because it used to be a value that I just took for granted. I had infinite discipline, and then somewhere along the way, I kind of noticed it slipping in some areas, and so now I'm trying to bring myself back to that younger self that just had infinite discipline. But then when I'm engaging with people, I would say transparency. That's been a real huge one for probably 8 or 9 years now, is when I started really thinking about having honest interactions with people. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but I really mean that. I mean, when you really, really think about it, think about how much you're not being truly genuine in a lot of human situations. And not necessarily that it's wrongfully so. I mean, sometimes you just want to have some positivity. You don't want to bring negativity to someone, and it could just be a really harmless interaction with I don't know why this just came to my mind, so it doesn't really fit us, but pretend a coworker in an elevator that you're not really friends with. You might just say something nice, but you don't really mean it. So I really like pulled on that thread about, honesty, and purity is another word that's in there, being your pure self. And that's really important in general with NOVAEO as well, is to be your pure self. We don't have to wear that corporate mask. You can be an individual here. That's why my Slack photo for the longest time is, like a crazy party picture. Come as you are. So transparency and autonomy are obviously the ones that are floating through my mind every single day, kind of like alternating, whether I'm interacting with others or whether I'm focusing on myself and my growth. But when I'm going into big picture mode, obviously creativity is there, and then obviously community is there. Wellness, I guess I already talked about with the discipline. And that's 7. So what's the 8th? Whew. Well, I don't know the 8th. Oh, merit. Yeah. Merit is, that's kind of what powers my discipline. It's the concept of reap what you sow. You will you will get out what you put in everywhere in life. Sometimes it's not what you expect or are wanting to get out of a situation. Something might not go your way. But once time passes and you reflect on however things came to be after you tried to put in, there was value there. And so inside NOVAEO, the concept of meritocracy, really the concept of NOVAEO in general, remember, we're doing a few different things inside NOVAEO. One is we are trying to evolve exponentially the relationship between a business organization and the individuals of which it's comprised of. In an instance, we are trying to think more about the individual and really emphasize the individual, because the belief is that if you empower the individual, then you empower the collective. But then the other purpose of NOVAEO along those same lines is, while doing that, we are also trying to, I want to say, solve the dilemma, the problems that come out of having remote first global teams. So remote first meaning no headquarters, no main office. I mean, I know we have the IT team offices, and I know we have the warehouse. I could talk on that too. But let me skip past that for now. So in general, we're building remote first global teams. And as I've looked around, no one has figured this out. And in fact, you guys are probably aware that especially big tech, all those corporations are recalling employees back to office, and it's causing shit tons of problems. Even Zoom, I think 2 weeks ago, even Zoom had just recalled everyone back to office. People are pissed. But those folks didn't even have global teams. You add in time zones across the entire world, and now it's oh man, this is kind of hard to keep it all together, keep it organized and keep it productive. I mean, individuals are individuals. We slip off the path. You give us a little bit of rope and, we stray. But what corporate culture does is it makes that rope, these really tight managerial systems. In NOVAEO, what we're trying to do, that rope is going to be something that the individual creates on their own to tie themselves to the community. And it's going to be done through these 8 core values and the operational systems that we create along the way. So anyway, we're going to be evolving these values, and we're also going to be we're going to be building into our operational system microsystems in which we are analyzing ourselves and each other on these 8 values so that we can gain a sense of fulfillment as we see progression in ourselves, and gain a sense of fulfillment as we become aware that others are seeing progression in us as well. Because that's ultimately one of the things that I believe is a key to maintaining happiness, is human beings are meant to continually evolve and grow, and you have to basically always have some kind of sense of fulfillment in your life, meaning you are spending time in a way that in the future you look back on how you spent that time and be like, I did good. Future self is proud of past self. That's what gains you a sense of fulfillment. What is future self proud of? When past self puts in the work to create future self. All right, guys. Anyway, I guess it might be Monday, so this is Saturday for me. So anyway, have a good week, and always feel confident about opening discussion about our values. Actually, just always feel confident about anything that you have to share about the current or what could be NOVAEO culture or organizational structure. These are the two pillars that we're ultimately focusing on. It's our culture, built and maintained and frameworked by our organizational structure, which is the pod system, the holacracy, or it might now be getting called a decentralized autonomous organization, DAO. That's coming from the crypto nerds out there. Thanks, guys. Anyway, have a good week and talk to you all later.